Hey guys, Saf coming at you with another Raid Shadow Legends video. So in today's video, I want to talk about, is it time for a times 20 increase? We now have, times 10s. We've had them for so long. We've had them going on for months and months and months. But we've also been getting lots and lots of champions. So for every new champion we release, the quality and the efficiency of a times 10 event goes down. You get less opportunity. So we can see today's times 10, as always, is a humongously desirable times 10 event. You've probably got the best arena champion in the game in Necret the Great, the best PvE champion in Theodore, the strongest official damage dealer in Hefrak, although Baron is easier to enable. And then you've got the best finite champion, one of the best enemy max HPs, the best buff stripper. So, these events are I really want these champions. They're really good. But actually, how valuable is times 10? And do we actually need to be putting more pressure on Playroom to go, hey, you've added loads of cool champions. That's great. We need more opportunities. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Obviously, if you're going for the fusion, you might have to pull shards today anyway. Like me, I know I'm going to have to pull some shards to get to the 2,000, I think it is, 2,150. It's actually not so bad. I was expecting it to be worse. It is about 4 sacreds or somewhere in the region of, 2 sacreds and a handful of void shards. It's not so bad. I'm tempted to get to this tier 2, but I'm not really crazy about it either. But certainly I will get enough to get to Pathfinder Kate, and I'll probably pull what I've got at the end of this video. I'm not really going hard, even though it's a really good times 10 event. But the real reason why I want to do this video is I want to look at the math. I want to look at what is times 10 doing for us now, what was it doing for us before, and are we ready to move up to a times 15 or times 20? So as you know, I do a lot of data mining, I do a lot of sort of client reading, and I keep a copy of the static data, sort of the client's version that we've had since around about January the 14th, 2021. So that is around about 22 months as of today of sort of difference, for a better word. And what I wanted to do in this chart here is kind of look at, okay, how many champions did we have back then? Around about the end of 2022 effectively, versus what we've got now in patch 6.2, and have a look at what were our times 10 odds back then versus now. So for anyone who doesn't know how times 10 works, we don't know for 100% certainty in the sense of they kind of keep their cards close to their chest how these boosted events work, but we're pretty sure the way they do times 2 events on artifact sets is you basically get an extra card, for a better word. If you've got 10 cards out there and you've got a chance to pick one, if you want double the odds, you put an extra card in. Now you've got two times as many chances. And we think they do the same thing here with the times 10. They effectively put 9 more cards into the deck of the same set of champions. So if you have 85 champions, well, we're going to get sort of 94 champions now, but 9 of those champions, including the one you already want, is going to be the same champion. So they load the deck more with your opportunities. On January the 14th, 2021, we had 85 non-void legendary champions in the game. That has gone up to 149 now. So we've had about 64 new non-void legendary champions. That is a 75% increase. Now, from an epic pool perspective, we started with 137 epic champions, and we're now at 197 epic champions. So we've had slightly less at 60, but because we started on a bigger pool of epic champions, we've only increased that pool by 44% versus the legendary champions. So it would be a bit surprising. Why is there so many more legendaries? We actually haven't had that many more legendaries compared to epics. It's just that we had less legendaries to begin with. So if you wanted to know the percentage odds back in January 14th, 2021 of you getting a specific champion, we're not talking about the amount of shards you need or the odds of getting it from a shard. All we're talking about is if I pull a legendary champion, what are my odds of getting a specific legendary champion? What are my odds of getting a Kaimar out of that shard? Well, that used to be 1.2%. It is now 0.7%. And that is about a 43% drop in the odds of getting a specific champion. So it basically means if you were working back in January 14th, 2021, playing the game, and you were pulling shards, you had nearly 1.5 times better odds of getting a specific champion. And that is important for some context I want to cover towards the end of this video. On a times 10, that would be boosted to 10.6% chance because we're getting 9 more cards in the deck. Well, that's now gone to a 6.3% chance for a non-void legendary on a times 10 today. So if I wanted to pull a Theodore today, technically it wouldn't be 6.3, it'll be a little bit lower, it'd be about 5.7 because we have 3 extra times 10s. So it's not just 9 more cards for Theodore, it's 9 more cards for Theodore and 9 more cards for, I think, Heffrak and the others, but we still only have 10 cards of Theodore. So actually it's a little bit less than that. But if there was only a singular times 10 champion, then it would be a 6.3% chance to get that champion, which is about a 41% drop in your odds. So you can see that actually right now we're not getting a very good payoff. We're still getting better odds than if it was a no 10 times. So it's not like 10 times is totally useless, but it's nowhere near the quality that we were getting before. Now, if we were to institute a times 15 and a times 20 on a non-void legendary, what kind of odds would we get? Well, if we were to do it back in the day when there was only 85, then obviously we would be getting really substantial odds, 15.2% and 19.2%. However, if we apply it on today's patch, times 15 would still be less than what the times 10 odds were back in January the 14th, 2022. We are somewhere between a times 15 and a times 20. Now you could say, okay, do you know what? We got more growth. We're going to get more champions. Let's move to a times 20 model because it will naturalize down to what the original times 10 was. I think that's fair to say a good example. But certainly on the non-void legendary so far, 100% we need to be looking to move to at least a times 15 to be fair to what we used to have when times 10 was first a thing when it came out. So how does this compare to epic champions? Well, obviously the epic champion pool is a lot bigger. There's a lot less odds. So back in 2021, we would have had a 0.7% chance to get a single epic champion. That has gone down to 0.5%. So actually in real terms, not a big difference. But in sort of realized terms, it's a 30% less chance to get a specific epic out of the pool. If we had a times 10, it was a 6.8% chance. It's now a 4.9% chance. That has gone down by 2%. So it's about a 29% reduction here again. Interestingly, if we were to just give it a times 15 boost on epics today, that would be more than what we had on a times 10 back in 2021. So a times 15 on an epic would be more appropriate than a times 20 if we were to be fair to what it used to be when it first sort of was a real thing on times 10. We would want to be around about a times 15 for epics. Now, if we look at the void picture, a picture that would probably be more relevant to people here, we all kind of have this feeling that times 10 on voids is far better than non-voids. Well, back in January 2021, we had 29 void legendaries. We are now at 45. So that has been an increase of 16. It's less than the non-voids, but it's about 55% increase on the original number. So we've still seen quite a big increase in void legendaries. So if you pulled a void legendary back in 2021, it would have been about a 3.45% chance for it to be a specific void legendary. That has gone down to 2.2%, and it's 36% loss. So it's not as bad as non-void, which would make sense because we haven't added as many void legendaries. On the times 10, we're looking at a 26.32% chance back in 2021. That is now an 18.52% chance today. So you can see that void legendaries times 10 is still actually quite substantial. You have about a 1 in 5 chance if you pull a void legendary to get the times 10 champion if he is a singular in the pool. Obviously we have 2 today. So instead of a 18.52%, it's probably going to be a 15.87% because there's an extra 9 in the card. So there's more opportunities for you to get both. But if you wanted to get just one of them, it reduces the odds. Now, what it basically means is back in 2021, we had 1 in 4 chance of getting the void legendary. Now it's 1 in 5 chance. It's a 30% drop. It's quite big still. If we look at if we were on a times 15 model, it's 34.88% back in 2021. But if we were to do it today, it would be 25.42. That is under 1% difference from back in 2021. So again, it feels like a times 15 is appropriate to move up to now in this current patch because that is what the odds would have been when we first started times 10. I feel like times 20 for voids being at a 31% chance is probably a bit too high if we were to be fair to Plarium in their original plans. So a times 15 seems appropriate here. If we look at void epics, the last kind of comparison here, there were 33 originally at the end of 2020 in January 14th, 2021 patch. We now have 45. So they've added 12 void legendaries of a 36% increase. It's actually the smallest batch of champions we've added over the 4 different versions. Originally, you would have had a 3% to get a specific void legendary, and now that is a 2.22%. So we've seen about a percentage drop, and that is around about 27% less odds to get a specific champion. When we go on a times 10, 23.81% has moved to an 18.52. So we're pretty much seeing you've got the same amount of opportunities now, because it's the same amount of void epics to get on a times 10 a void epic versus a void legendary. That is still 22% loss, about 5% loss. Now, if we had a times 15 on an epic, we would be at 25.42, which would be more than what we had back in January 2021. So again, it feels like epics times 20 is a little bit too much. Times 15 is appropriate. The only place here where times 20 feels more appropriate is for non-void legendaries, because times 15 is still quite substantially less than what we had back in January 14th, 2021. So what I really wanted to do with this chart here is just kind of go, we've been saying for a while we need more than times 10. Times 10 is not good enough. Now the numbers kind of show we were right. Times 10 is dated. We need to be moving up to at least a times 15 right now. And I think then probably in another 6 to 12 months to a times 20, depending on how many more champions get added to the game. Non-void legendaries here are looking a little bit more closer to a times 20 than anything else, being only like 1.3% behind what it was in January 2021, whereas the rest are sort of 2 to 7% higher here. So probably a times 20 is a little bit too much of a stretch right now, unless Plarium are looking to be kind to us. So does that change your kind of decision making around times 10 odds? Well, times 10 voids are still very good in my opinion. If you were close to a Mercy and you wanted Necret the Great, you've got a pretty good odds of getting it, better than any other scenario in this game. For times 10 non-void legendaries and non-void epics, it's a lot worse. It's very difficult to realize the opportunity. You're only getting 6% chance instead of that 0.7% chance. The more times 10 they put in, the harder it is also to get that specific champion, because obviously they have to load the cards with the other champions as well. But if you care about getting any of the times 10, then obviously the odds will increase alongside it. So I'm going to be pulling some shards now just to get the summon rush done. We're going to pull these 11 voids. We want a Necret the Great. It would be so good for my account. I don't think I'm going to get it, because it is it's not a times 2. Unless you're close to Mercy, it's very difficult to get these legendaries. It would be kind of crazy luck if I did get it. Demytha's a cool champion, but I got 2 of them now. I don't need another one. We had loads of retainers there. Good lord, how many retainers would you need? We're going to pull one more. No Necret the Great. Let's have a look how many I need. I'm probably going to have to pull the Sacred Shard. I need the 500 points. We get another epic champion. Oh, we do get an Allure. So there you go. That's the times 10 kind of working. Again, I don't really need an Allure. No, I'm not buying shards. I've bought too much. How close am I? We're going to have to pull some of the Ancients, I think. We might have to pull all of the Ancients. We're about 200 away. Let's pull the Ancients as well. And we'll see what we get. But this is the reality of a times 10 if you're not buying. It's full rare. Basically, it's, Aina's a great champion, but not a champion that I really need. That didn't get me close, did it? How far away are we? Still need to pull the 10. I'm going to have to pull all of my shards just to get this done. But at least it's only 2,000 points. It could have been a lot worse. That's your full rate. Oh, I got a Kate. Oh, that's good. I can skip an event. Pathfinder Kate, that's awesome. I can actually skip one event finally in this full fusion, this horrific kind of fusion. So we might as well pull the last 2, see what we get. I'm not really that interested in buying lots of shards, because I know Necret the Great is really good. I would really love a Necret the Great, but it's so hard to get any sort of void legendary on a non-times 2. There we go. That's the dismal reality of the shards. Let's pull this. Pathfinder Kate. We didn't get up to this mark. I could burn some mystery shards if I really wanted the tier 2 essence, but maybe I'll get lucky and the clan boss will grace me with some good shards. There you go, guys. That is the end of the video. I didn't want to do a shard pulling video. I wanted to do a video with a different angle, looking at the efficiency of the times 10. I hope that number was interesting. The main reason kind of why I did this analysis The people who are fighting in Platinum Arena right now have been playing this game for a very long time, some of them, which means they had better summoning odds back in their original day. We don't have these better odds now. So for me to get a +4 Kaimar when I don't even have a singular Kaimar is very, very, very difficult. They would have been able to pull lots of Kaimars back in the day because the champion pool was much smaller. And unless we're going to get these boosted ×10 and ×15 and ×20 odds, we're not ever going to be able to compete with these players because they invested far less money to get the same outcome. If you were investing £200 a month to get those Kaimars 2 years ago, you're going to have to invest nearly 300 because effectively everything is 55% less efficient. Everything is less efficient than what it was back then. I know we get more summoning events, we get varied packs. You can't do an exact one-to-one comparison. The packs are more expensive, inflation, you name it. There's lots of different changes. But effectively, people may have been pulling lots of Kaimars and lots of Rotus and lots of Duches back in the early days when there was far less champions. You can't really do that right now. And this is why I think there's also the issue of account selling in the game. If you want to compete in Platinum, it's far cheaper to go buy an account. The model that Plarium has set up here is to encourage that. Even though it's against the terms and they would ban anyone for doing it, the model they have set up encourages it because it is so difficult to get on this ladder from a 0 level account. It takes too long. The empowerment is too powerful. So we'll have to see how that goes. In the initial thing, I think just for fair clarity to keep us consistent with the numbers that we first had when ×10 come out, ×15 I think should be instituted now. We should move up, give people some better opportunities to get these champions. Let's see what happens with that. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content from this channel, as usual, do all the YouTubey things. Hit the subscribe, hit the bell. That'll come straight into your feed. But until the next time, guys, I will catch you in the next video.